Welcome to Pattern 4, Pattern and Anomaly Detection. Every day, millions of credit card transactions happen. Most are legitimate, a few are fraud. How does a bank find those few among millions? Every factory runs thousands of machines. Most are working fine, a few are about to fail. How does an engineer know which to check before they break? That is what Pattern 4 is about. Finding the unusual in a sea of normal, discovering hidden rules in mountains of data. This pattern is the digital immune system of modern business. In this lesson, you will learn what it does, where it is used, what techniques it relies on, what risks it carries, and how to manage it. Let us begin.
Pattern 4 covers two connected capabilities that share the same foundation. The first is anomaly detection. This means finding data points, events, or behaviors that are unusual, rare, or suspicious compared to what is considered normal. The system asks, what does not belong here? The second is pattern discovery. This means finding hidden structures, repeating rules, or relationships in data that human analysts cannot easily see. The system asks, what recurring rule governs this data? Both depend on understanding normal behavior first. You cannot recognize abnormal without a baseline of normal. A useful analogy. Imagine a new security guard at a large office building. In the first days, they observe and learn. Most employees arrive between 8 and 9 a.m., swipe their badge, wear business attire. That is the normal pattern. Then one night at 2 a.m., someone tries to slip through without swiping. That is an anomaly. After a few weeks, the guard notices that technology staff always carry laptop bags while sales staff wear suits. That is pattern discovery. AI does the same, but with millions of data points per second across dimensions no human analyst can track. There are three anomaly types to understand. A point anomaly is a single data point, clearly different from all others. A transaction of $50,000 when a customer normally spends under $200 is a point anomaly. A contextual anomaly is normal in one context but unusual in another. The same transaction amount in a foreign country at midnight is a contextual anomaly even if the dollar amount looks ordinary. A collective anomaly is when individual data points each look normal, but together they form a suspicious pattern. Multiple small transfers each just below the reporting threshold, executed rapidly in sequence, is a collective anomaly used in money laundering. Let us now see where this is applied in business. Pattern 4 is one of the most widely deployed AI patterns because every industry has things to detect early and patterns to understand. The first major application is fraud detection. Visa and MasterCard process billions of transactions and use anomaly detection to flag suspicious activity in under 100 milliseconds per transaction. The model compares each transaction against the cardholder's historical behavior, location, device fingerprint, and spending velocity. JP Chase has reported saving hundreds of millions of dollars annually through ML-based fraud detection compared to rule-based systems. The second is predictive maintenance in industrial settings. Sensors on factory equipment generate continuous data, temperature, vibration, pressure, and acoustic signals. Anomaly detection learns what normal operating behavior looks like for each machine. When readings deviate from the baseline, engineers are alerted before failure. According to industry research, unplanned downtime costs manufacturers an average of $260,000 per hour. Companies like Siemens and GE have deployed these systems widely. The third is network intrusion detection in cybersecurity. Normal network traffic has recognizable patterns, which servers communicate, what volumes, at what times. An attacker moving through a network creates patterns that deviate from the baseline. Companies like Darktrace and CrowdStrike use unsupervised learning to detect these deviations without needing predefined attack signatures. The fourth is pattern discovery for market analysis. Clustering algorithms automatically identify customer groups with similar behaviors, revealing segments no analyst thought to define. Market basket analysis discovers which products customers buy together, driving product placement and cross-sell strategy at retailers like Walmart and Target. Next, let us look at the techniques behind this pattern. There are 4 core techniques in Pattern 4 that you need to understand as a project manager. The first is statistical methods. These assume data follows a known distribution, usually a normal bell curve. Any data point more than 3 standard deviations from the average is flagged as an anomaly. Easy to implement, easy to explain, requires no labeled training data. The limitation is that it works only for simple single-variable data. Real-world anomalies are often multidimensional. The second is clustering, particularly k-means and DBSCAN. Clustering groups similar data points together. Anomalies are points that do not belong to any cluster, or that sit far from their cluster's center. Clustering also enables pattern discovery. The clusters themselves reveal hidden groupings like customer segments. The key management challenge is that you must decide how many clusters to use, which requires business judgment, not just mathematics. The third is decision trees. These learn classification rules from labeled examples. If you have historical fraud cases labeled as fraud or not, A decision tree builds rules the business team can read and validate. Decision trees are highly explainable, which matters greatly in regulated industries like banking and insurance. The limitation is that they require labeled training data, which is often scarce for rare anomalies. The fourth is neural networks and autoencoders. An autoencoder is trained on normal data only. It learns to compress and reconstruct normal patterns. When it encounters an anomaly, the reconstruction fails and the reconstruction error spikes. This spike is the anomaly signal. Autoencoders work well for complex sensor data, network packets, and images. The trade-off is that they are harder to explain. Always start with a simple statistical baseline. Measure how much each more complex approach actually improves detection before investing in it. Now let us apply this to the CPMAI lifecycle. For Pattern 4 projects, Phase 1 and Phase 5 carry the most distinctive management challenges. Phase 1 is business understanding. The most critical decision is defining what normal looks like in your specific context. This is genuinely hard. Normal changes over time. A customer who spends $100 per week may spend $1,000 on holiday gifts in December. Is that fraud? Domain experts must answer this, not just engineers. You must also define the cost of each error type before any modeling begins. This decision shapes every threshold choice later in the project. Phase 2 is data understanding. The most important challenge is class imbalance. In fraud detection, genuine fraud may be only 0.1% of all transactions. A model that labels everything as normal is 99.9% accurate, but catches zero fraud. Check your anomaly rate early, and plan your sampling strategy before touching the model. Phase 3 is data preparation. Address class imbalance through oversampling the minority class or creating synthetic anomaly examples. Engineer meaningful features, transaction velocity, deviation from the customer's historical average, geographic distance from the previous transaction. Phase 4 is model development. Build a simple baseline first. In fraud detection, a rule that flags any transaction over a fixed amount is your baseline. Measure how much your ML model improves over it. If the improvement is small, the baseline may be sufficient for now. Phase 5 is model evaluation. Never use accuracy as your primary metric with imbalanced data. Use precision, recall, and F1 score. Present business stakeholders with threshold options, showing projected false positive and false negative rates with their estimated costs. This is a business decision, not a technical one. Phase 6 is operationalization. Monitor both technical metrics and business impact continuously. Fraudsters adapt. Machines age. Network traffic evolves. Schedule regular retraining and define trigger conditions. But before that, let us examine the serious risks this pattern carries. Pattern 4 has two unique and opposite risks. Minimizing one almost always increases the other. Managing this tension is one of the most important responsibilities of the project manager. The first risk is false positives. This is when the system raises an alarm, but there is no real anomaly. A legitimate customer's card is blocked. An engineer shuts down a machine for inspection and finds nothing wrong. A security team investigates a network alert that was routine employee activity. False positives have three serious consequences. They annoy customers and damage trust. They waste staff time on fake investigations. Most dangerously, they cause alarm fatigue. When staff see too many false alarms, they start ignoring alerts. This is the boy who cried wolf effect. When a real anomaly finally appears, it gets ignored too. The second risk is false negatives. This is when the system misses a real anomaly. Fraudulent transactions go through undetected. A machine fails without warning. An attacker moves through the network for months before anyone notices. The consequences are direct financial loss, operational disruption, and in industries like aviation, potential loss of life. You cannot minimize both simultaneously. This is the precision recall trade-off. Your role as project manager is to make this a business decision, not a technical one. Bring together stakeholders from operations, finance, legal, and customer experience. Estimate the cost of one false positive and one false negative. In banking, a false positive might cost $12 in customer service. A false negative might cost $380 in fraud losses. That ratio determines the optimal threshold. Present stakeholders with multiple threshold options and their projected business impact. Get documented agreement before deployment. Let us now see how this played out in a real project. Let us see how these principles apply in practice. First Atlantic Bank processes over 2 million credit card transactions daily. Their existing rule-based fraud detection system caught only 62% of actual fraud, while generating a false positive rate of 3.1%. This meant roughly 62,000 legitimate customer transactions per day were being declined or interrupted. Customer complaints about blocked cards had grown significantly. The bank approved a machine learning fraud detection project. Budget was $1.4 million. Timeline was 9 months. The team included 2 data scientists, 2 data engineers, 2 software engineers, 2 fraud analysts from risk management, and a compliance officer. In Phase 1, the fraud team defined the cost of each error. A false positive cost approximately $12 in customer service and retention expenses. A false negative cost approximately $380 in fraud losses and recovery. This ratio shaped every subsequent threshold decision. In Phase 2, fraud transactions represented only 0.08% of all transactions. Class imbalance was extreme. They also found that fraud patterns had shifted significantly over 18 months, making older historical data less useful. In Phase 3, they applied SMOT to balance the training data and engineered 14 new features, including transaction velocity, geographic distance from the previous transaction, and deviation from the 90-day spending average. In Phase 4, a gradient boosting model improved fraud detection from 62 to 87%, compared to the rule-based baseline. In Phase 5, they presented 3 threshold options to business stakeholders. The operations and compliance team selected the middle option after reviewing projected customer impact and fraud loss estimates. After deployment, the false positive rate dropped from 3.1 to 0.9%. Customer complaints about blocked cards fell by 58%. The fraud team estimated net savings of $4.2 million in the first year. The key lesson: the Phase 1 workshop that defined error costs was the most valuable hour spent in the entire project. Here is your checklist. Here is your practical checklist for managing any pattern and anomaly detection project. At kickoff, answer these questions. What is normal in this specific context, and how does it change over time? What are the costs of a false positive and a false negative? Who are the domain experts who understand what genuine anomalies look like in this business? For data, check these things. What is the ratio of anomalies to normal data? If below 1%, you have a class imbalance problem. Is the historical data recent enough to reflect current behavior? Are the anomaly labels verified by domain experts, not just auto-generated? For the model, confirm these things. Have you built a simple rule-based baseline to measure improvement against? Have you defined precision, recall, and F1 as your primary metrics before training begins? For evaluation, require a trade-off presentation. Present multiple threshold options to business stakeholders with projected false positive and false negative rates, and their estimated costs in dollars. Get documented agreement before deployment. For operations, plan for model drift. Fraudsters adapt. Machines age. Define the trigger for retraining. Now, how does Pattern 4 connect to the other patterns? Pattern 4 feeds directly into Pattern 5, Predictive Analytics. An anomaly detection system flagging unusual machine vibration can trigger a predictive model that estimates time to failure and schedules maintenance. Anomaly signals are often the inputs to forecasting systems. Pattern 4 is a core component of Pattern 7, Autonomous Systems. A self-driving vehicle must continuously detect whether its sensor readings are within normal bounds. Any anomaly triggers a safety response. Without reliable anomaly detection, autonomous systems cannot operate safely. Before we close, there is one concept from Pattern 4, important enough to deserve dedicated attention. In everyday life, accuracy means how often the system was correct. If a weather app is right 90% of the time, you call it accurate. For balance problems, accuracy is useful, but Pattern 4 almost always involves highly imbalanced data. Fraud is 0.1% of transactions. Equipment failures are 0.5% of sensor readings. Cyber attack packets are 0.01% of network traffic. In this situation, a model that labels everything as normal is 99.9% accurate, but catches zero fraud, misses every equipment failure, and lets every attack through. It is perfectly useless, despite its impressive accuracy number. This is why Pattern 4 requires different metrics. Precision answers. Of all the alarms the system raised, what fraction were genuine anomalies? High precision means few false alarms. Low precision means your staff is overwhelmed with noise and will start ignoring alerts. Recall answers. Of all the genuine anomalies that actually occurred, what fraction did the system catch? High recall means few missed events. Low recall means real problems are going undetected and unaddressed. The F1 score combines both into a single balanced number. As a project manager, your job is to understand which metric matters more in your business context, and to communicate clearly why accuracy alone is misleading. When an executive sees a 99.8% accuracy rate and feels reassured, you need to be the person who asks what the recall rate is. That conversation will reveal whether the system is actually protecting the business.
That is Pattern 4, Pattern and Anomaly Detection. Quick recap. 3 anomaly types: point, contextual, collective. 4 techniques: statistical, clustering, decision trees, autoencoders. 2 risks: false positives waste resources and cause alarm fatigue. False negatives miss real threats. You cannot minimize both. That trade-off is a business decision. Never use accuracy with imbalanced data. Use precision, recall, and F1. Please share with a colleague preparing for PMI-CPMAI. Subscribe for new episodes, leave a comment below. This is Peter Pham. See you in the next lesson.